Hey, this is for those of us watching who are trying to grow their mechanical business or anything auto related. Here's the best tips that I can give you. The first one is make sure your bookkeeping is on point. If your bookkeeping's simple and streamlined and done well, then life is a lot easier. I can promise you that after 2 decades of working with businesses. Also, getting efficient with our paperwork is pretty darn important because if you got to pay your suppliers, you want to do that once a week. So you might have it say Thursday or Friday is your day where you pay all your bills at once. And the same with getting your invoices out. You want them out ASAP. So you might have a certain time of day where you invoice everyone who owes you money. But the bottom line is your bookkeeping and your paperwork need to be clean. Otherwise you can't scale. Also, you want to separate your personal bank account from your work bank account. So these are 3 of my cards for my stuff, and I've got a business account for one of my businesses on one card. I've got a business account for a second business on another card, and then of course I've got my personal card. You buy coffee on your personal card, and you buy other things on your work cards, but it streamlines your accounting and it saves you a lot of money with the accountant to do it that way. Also, as you grow and scale, you need to be aware that your break-even formula changes. So you might start off as a one-man band and it's pretty easy to work out if you're making money or not. But when you've got a couple of staff and then throw in, some more complex sort of stuff where you might be paying more in a lease or for more equipment or whatever, you need to know how much do you need to make in revenue every year, month, and week, because that way you'll end up automatically aiming for the more high-margin work, which is where you want to be. And if you don't know how much money you're making, then you're probably losing money. Another thing with cash flow is that cash flow is a fancy way of saying, do you know how much money will be in your account on a certain date in the future? And obviously you don't have a magic wand, but you can roughly estimate it. And you need to know how much money you'll have in your account, because you need to be able to pay for your BAS or your PAYG. You need to be able to pay your staff and pay the big bills when they come due. But if you can't see those bills coming over the horizon, then that's a cash flow problem. We've got to be on top of that. Now, if you need a bookkeeper or an accountant, well, people go, what do I need, a bookkeeper or an accountant? Well, let's look at what they do. A bookkeeper does basically what an accountant does, except they do it way cheaper. So a bookkeeper is going to charge between, say, 65 and $100 an hour. We charge about 70 at the moment, and that's pretty cheap because an accountant to do the same tasks and probably take the same time to do it is going to charge you about $300 an hour. So it's not a good idea to go, oh, I don't want a bookkeeper, I'll just give it to the accountant at the end of the year, because it just means the accountant's just going to charge you the earth. So most businesses need both a bookkeeper for the day-to-day stuff and an accountant at the end of the year. The bookkeeper gets your books in order, the accountant works out how you're going to save on tax at the end of the financial year, and they go hand in hand. If you get financially stuck, and you will as you grow, that's just the nature of it, you will get stuck sometimes. What are the first places to go to when you get stuck? Step 1 is chase your overdues. Lots of people probably owe you money. You need to know who they are. You need to get on the phone and give them a call, or get one of your staff members to do that. Some people in trades like mechanical trades or the auto trades, they haven't even invoiced everyone. So make sure you've invoiced everyone and then chase those overdues. Also, if you're really stuck, you can talk to the ATO. Your first phone call to the ATO saying, I'm really stuck, they tend to be reasonably friendly. It's a time-consuming phone call, but they're reasonably friendly. The second time you call, they're not so friendly. Okay, I can tell you that from experience. So it's still an option though. You can talk to the ATO. Another thing is you can talk to your suppliers. Your suppliers don't want you going out of business because you buy from them. You keep them in business. So if you've got a good track record of paying your suppliers on time, then you can just go, look guys, I'm in a bit of strife until the 15th of next month. Can you help me out till then? And usually they'll say yes, particularly if you've been paying them on time every time, which is where you want your bookkeeper to be organized or someone in your office to be organized. Now, we can't treat our business like an ATM. We can't just wait until we go, oh, I've got 200K in the account, I should take some out. It's like, hold on, if you've got 200K in the account, but you've got 170K of expenses coming up in the next month, you don't want to be taking much out. Okay, so you need to know what your cash flow is, and then you need to be able to work out when you can take money out, and you want to take money out only when it's very, very safe to do so. Because your account is not an ATM. Your work account, you start messing around with it like it's an ATM, you're going to come unstuck. It's a painful spot to be in. I've been there. Now, if you need a hand getting your bookkeeping done for you, well, that's a picture of Joel and I. That's us hanging out. We're both bookkeepers. We get the job done, and we enjoy having a chat with people when they're a bit stuck and helping them work out what they need. And our first chat on the phone or on Zoom is completely free. Like, the magic of a bookkeeper is generally they're going to be wanting to serve. We want to serve. That's who we are. Big tip. Make sure you invoice people immediately. Don't let someone drive out without an invoice, okay? If you're a one-man band and you don't have the sort of time that would allow you to invoice them on the day, then at least make sure that you invoice them that night. And if you're going to invoice them that night, send them both a text message and an email. People go, that's a lot of work. It's less work than chasing people up when they haven't paid you. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Overdues, it's like, overdues are a nightmare when you let them get out of hand. Deal with them early. Now, you want to track your overdues. Big tip is get the invoices out straight away on the day that you did the work, because then people know you're serious about getting paid. Also, try and have 7-day terms, okay? Don't extend your terms beyond 7 days, because people then view you as like, oh, he's not that assertive about getting paid. I'll pay my mortgage first or my Woolworths bill first. Your auto guy needs to be paid because he's got big expenses. So make sure that you're chasing those overdues. If you need to, pay your bookkeeper to get in touch with your overdues. For example, there's people whose accounts I manage, and if it gets to 7 days, they're overdue. So I wait until the 10th day, because that way, what if they paid on the 7th day and the bank just held it up, which is pretty common actually. So on the 10th day, they will get an email and a text message. Hey, your account's overdue. How do we get that sorted? What do you need? And generally people will then pay, but if they don't pay by then, on the 14th, they get a phone call. And if they don't pay on the 14th, then every week after that, someone on our team will give them a phone call until they pay. Because if you leave your overdues and just hope, well, people who are hard to get money out of at the start stay difficult to get money out of. So you want to be on those overdues. By the way, I love making these videos for you, but I often don't know which videos are resonating the best with people. Please like the video, please subscribe to it. It helps me on YouTube, but as well as that, it also helps me know what to make more for you of. So as well as that, like, people get really stuck with their payroll. Payroll is hard, and especially if you've got a couple of people in the workshop to pay. What starts out as simple and something you can do literally with a calculator, then you find when you've got a couple of people working for you, it's a big problem. And then it's almost insurmountable. But that's where your software comes and does the job for you. That's where, say, Xero software, it produces a pay file that every fortnight, your bookkeeper gives you that pay file. It might have taken them an hour to organize, but for you, you just click into your internet banking, click on upload, you upload the file, and it pays people for you. And that means your bookkeeper doesn't have access to your bank account, which you wouldn't want, but it also means that it didn't take you ages to do their pays. The other thing is your software, like your Xero software or whatever you're using, it's magic because it's going to keep track of how much tax to withhold for people. And even more important than that, it's going to keep track of how much super you need to pay people. Because not paying superannuation on time is probably like the most disproportionate consequences of anything else in business is not paying your super on time. You'll get smacked hard. So make sure you've got good software for paying your super and paying it on time. I recommend Xero. People keep saying to me, why Xero? It's better than the alternatives. And sure as heck, don't use a spreadsheet. I was talking to a guy the other day. He has a business he's been running for 10 years. He does all his accounting on Excel spreadsheets. I'm like, my goodness, he must be spending the earth in accounting fees. Use Xero or something at least equivalent to Xero. Also, don't do it yourself, your bookkeeping. It's bad for you. It's bad for your wife or partner. It's bad for your free time. It keeps you away from just relaxing. It's crazy. You can earn more by getting out there, being on the tools, than you can by sitting in front of computer software that you don't quite understand. So outsource your bookkeeping to someone else. And if you are looking for someone to outsource your bookkeeping to, Joel and I are examples of guys who just want to help. Okay, so we do a free initial session. We just want to make sure that you're on track. Okay, most people who come to us feel completely overwhelmed, and you'd be surprised at how happy they are when they get off that call to us. If we can be helpful, we're not far away.